Hey guys, welcome to the Creepo Depot, the show that apparently isn't dead. My name's Anthony. I'm the giant rat who makes all the rules. And who's the rest of you people? I'm gonna go to whoever just speaks first.
I'm back.
It's Nathan. Nathan's back. We got Mark. Mark, say something.
All right.
All right, Mark said something. And today we also have Jersey, who is the first time on this show. Jersey, how does it feel to be on this show finally?
Why, it's an honor to be on this show, Anthony. Truly a great debt to you.
Well, why are you in debt to me?
Because you picked me up.
Oh, yeah. I guess. All right,
My show's better, though.
Then you can leave. Anyways, so today so what happened a couple weeks ago, Nathan, as he may have alluded to in a previous episode, went and said, hey, we should watch the Gamera movies. We should go watch those. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then that maybe day happened. And we all sat down and watched the Gamera movies. We all, what were they?
It was the Gamera Heisei trilogy.
Yeah, they were in like the early 90s or whatever.
Yep. Mid to late 90s.
Yep. Gotcha. Yeah, so we watched those, had a good time, had some pizza. There was chips that weren't eaten. There were
popcorn that wasn't eaten.
There was popcorn that wasn't eaten. Well, we all had a good time. So, but anyways, I actually don't really care about that. So, Jersey, we both recently saw the My Little Pony movie.
Oh, yes, it was truly one of the best. But my one problem is, how come Celestia can't do her job?
I know, right? She just gets O-code at the very beginning of the movie. She doesn't do anything. And also, Jersey, I had another problem that you had with the movie. Yeah. Hey, this is my show. I'll talk about what I want. So, like I was saying, I don't think you understand, Jersey. When Rarity goes
I know this is called the Creepo Depot.
Hey, don't spoil it. I haven't seen it. And
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, you guys haven't? Oh, you guys actually have a desire to see this movie.
Somewhat.
I want to take my niece.
I'm more surprised about Mark. But anyways, if you I guess if you guys want to see the movie, I better not spoil the horrible things that happen in it. Anyways, okay, so I guess we'll just talk about
we're gonna skip
giant monsters like we always do. Anyways, so Nathan, start us off.
Yeah. We're not going to waste time on talking about how we got into Gamera. If you guys want to know how we got into giant monster movies, please refer to the 3rd episode of the Creepo Depot, where we talk about Shin Godzilla, or the Crisis of Infinite podcast, where we talk about Kong, Skull Island. So, let's see.
Yeah, so the first movie we watched was Gamera...
Guardian of the Universe.
Guardian of the Universe. A.K.a. Gamera goes and fights Adrian, the Brody bunch.
Yes.
So in this movie, some Adrian Brody monsters start showing up, and they're all like, oh, hey, we're just going to start killing people. And meanwhile, some fishermen are like, hey, look at this weird rock. It's moving, and it's got this weird plaque.
Actually, that rock was discovered by military personnel first, and they hired a science team to investigate. Remember?
Yeah, I'm summarizing here. Anyway, they removed the plaque, and then Gamera's all like, after 10,000 years, I'm free! And then
it's time to save the world.
Also, just to point this out, apparently Gyaos's poop looks like ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
The Adrian Brody monsters.
Yeah.
Their poop looks
fun fact about the movie, it was actually budgeted... It had a lower budget than the Heisei Godzilla movies.
Yeah, it did.
Huh, I didn't know that. Okay, so...
And after its success, they put in more money for the sequels.
Well, yeah, that's how they typically do. So basically what ends up happening is Godzilla goes and starts fighting Adrian Brody monsters.
Gamera.
Who'd I say?
You said Godzilla.
And this is the man who loves turtles, people. This is the man who loves turtles.
I do. I really love. I really love turtles.
Not enough to remember Gamera's name.
Yeah, one job, Anthony.
I'll fire you all. Anyways, so Gamera's all like gonna go fight the Adrian Brody beasts, and basically we actually have the most realistic idea of there's these giant monsters, and they're first off we try to get the Brody beast to get into some stadium so we can go and experiment on them or whatever. But then Gamera just kind of ruins that, and we're like, god dang it, we had to set up this stadium. It looked really nice. We had a bunch of steak.
Gave him an Anthony meal. It was a smoky bowl.
Yeah, they got a bunch of fish or something.
It was giant steak.
Giant slabs.
That's a lot of steak.
Giant slabs of beef, like an entire side of a cow.
Yeah.
I'd eat it.
Yeah. But yeah, they try to capture the monsters, and Gamera's
Rocky Balboa personally donated it for the capture of these beasts.
Yeah, then Gamera just kind of messes it up, and then we kind of just have this weird moment where we gotta kill all these monsters. So like we attack Gamera, we attack the Brody Beast, and nothing really works. And eventually they just kind of fight each other, and then that's it. And is there anything else you want to add?
I kind of like the.
I should have turned that off.
No, that's me.
Oh.
I kind of like the sense how, like, of the human's perception of, like, all kaijus, but, like, message that not all kaijus are trying to, like, burn down.
Well, to be fair, like Gamera the first time, like he shows up, he just kind of like tramples through an entire city just to get to the stadium, and then just kind of wrecks it. So,
Well, to be honest, he was trying to get to the Gauss.
Yeah.
And was trampling anything in his way.
Gauss is the actual name of the Brody Beasts.
And as I mentioned before, Anthony, those are not Brody spawn. Because if you look at the science behind it, Adria Brody has a hooked beak. And the Gauss have like a triangular, narrow snout. They constantly call the Gauss bird monsters, but when you look at them, they look more like the dragons from Reign of Fire.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
They look like a poor man's Rodan.
Yeah, they had like this weird triangle face thing.
But
they did constantly call them birds. They were just like, they didn't like call them pterodactyls or dinosaurs or nothing like that.
Because apparently they were created in Atlantis, right?
either Atlantis or an ancient civilization similar to Atlantis.
Yeah, but then they find out that those creatures ran wild, so the Atlanteans created Gamera as like a protocol.
Yeah.
Gamera protocol. But yeah, so that was the first movie. Just we don't have too much time, so let's just go to the second movie.
I was gonna say this about
okay.
the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
The plot is very somewhat similar to the 2014 Godzilla movie.
And it's uncanny because this Guardian of the Universe came before 2014.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They are very similar movies, except for Gamera's like a bit more destructive.
And Gamera's is more prevalent on screen.
Mm-hmm. Definitely more prevalent on screen.
I really hate how like they say, "Oh, don't open fire. He's here to protect us," and then they go, "Okay, open fire." But I'm surprised how like for both of these kaiju's, the 2014 Godzilla and Gamera, they don't really care what we do to them because they're just trying to do their job.
Well, Gamera kind of
Gamera kind of cares. He was basically created by this civilization to protect all life on the planet.
Yeah, there was even this special connection like with this girl.
Oh
yeah, she finds this magical comma.
The Magatama.
Yeah. I guess we should go over that. I guess that is important to the movie. Yeah, so one of the things they find on Gamera are these little like magic commas. What are they called again?
Magatamas.
Yeah, so one of the military men is like, "Alright, we found this magic comma. They have like 1,000 of them back at base. I think I'll just give one to my daughter." And then through that, the daughter is able to go kind of communicate with Gamera.
She ends up forming like a spiritual connection to Gamera.
Because it's like a reference to the Showa movies where Gamera was like a friend to all children. And believe me, he's a friend to all children.
I don't know what you're trying to imply there. That's a little creepy.
I know what he means.
That's a little creepy, Mark. Mark.
Gamera. He'll bring kids into his van. Touch them. I go.
Hey, this is a family show. You know, I was trying to like avoid cussing and stuff like that, so that way your family could go listen to this. But
okay, I'm sorry.
Apparently,
I am
that's
so sorry.
broken.
I am so sorry, my family.
I was all like, oh, I should probably clean up my language, not say any
sorry.
duty words,
okay,
PP face, or anything like that, so that way Nathan could go and show it to his family.
Okay, straight up, Gamera is not like that.
Well,
actually, he puts himself in harm's way time and time again to protect others.
But yeah, so he forms this like spiritual connection to this girl, and like it gets kind of horrible, like when his like arm gets all messed up, her arm gets all messed up and stuff like that, and it feels like they're like taking the damage for each other, and you feel that bond, and it's like, oh man.
Kudos to the puppeteering team who operated Gamera's face.
Oh yeah, that thing was good.
Yeah, it felt like an E.T. moment. If E.T. was like a giant, turtle monster.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I also like that cab driver. That guy was cool.
Even if he was in the movie for 2 minutes?
Yeah, like there's a part where she's all like,
I need to go to the mountain.
I need to go to the mountain and see
We
Gamera.
can't go. We can't go to the mountain.
I need to go to the mountain. He's like, whatever.
Whatever. And then
There's like a military blockade, and then like
they're trying to tell the taxi driver to stop and turn around, but he just guns it and breaks through the barrier. And we cut to them in the taxi car, and he has this big smile on his face, like, I've always wanted to do that.
he's just like, it's my last day anyway. Whatever. He was just having a good time. But yeah. So I guess should we just call that for the first movie?
Yeah.
For now, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about more of it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so the second movie is Gamera 2, Advent of Legion. So in this movie, Gamera has to go and fight these hippy-dippy bugs that just want to go and plant flowers everywhere, and Gamera's like, no, these stupid hippy-dippy flowers look ugly. I'm going to destroy them all. And then, like, their hippy-dippy, like, queen comes out of nowhere, and it's like, bah, 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 bah. And, like, they have to fight. This is actually, like, a really...
There were crab people, actually.
Yeah, there was, like...
Their behavior patterns were more like ants.
Yeah, and it got spoopy at some times.
Oh, yeah, this actually was pretty spoopy. The thing is, like...
Especially when one of the Legion soldiers attacked the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So, the Legion, like...
That scared Anthony the most.
Oh yeah. I
was just petting your dog, and then that part came up, and I scared your dog away.
So the Legion are about... How big would you say? Like, maybe...
The Legion soldiers would probably be about as big as a car.
I would say probably a little bit small. Maybe like a Mini Cooper?
A little bit smaller than a average car.
So like a Mini Cooper.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, so it's about, like, imagine this, like, crab monster the size of a Mini Cooper just, like, coming at you and just, like, going up to your face and be like, blah, 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 crab people. And they're, like, pretty freaky. They don't look natural. They don't look, and, like, they actually...
They look like something from a Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, they do.
Exactly. Hit the eye. It's the weak point.
Yo.
But yeah, they were definitely very creepy, and because they were so small compared to like a Gamera, they actually used them pretty effectively to go and make them like kill like humans one by one. And they had like this...
And we find out that the only reason why they were killing the humans was because they were attacking any human with any electronic devices.
Yeah,
or
they
glass.
feed off of glass. And like they have like
not just glass. It's later revealed in the movie that the Legion communicates with each other in a hive mind wavelength frequency, and it's kind of, and our electronic devices interfere with the electromagnetic frequencies that they use to communicate. That's why they always go after the electronic devices.
And don't they have like some kind of like infrared vision like the Predator?
Kind of, sort of. I thought that it was mostly just like homing in on what they eat or whatever. But they were very creepy, and they actually spooked us a couple times because there's like a part where they attack the subway and it just pops up out of nowhere and it's like woogity woogity woo, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
And then there was this terrifying part where they go to a brewery and destroy all the alcohol.
I do feel bad.
No, the alcohol was left unharmed.
It was on
only
the floor.
took the bottles.
Yeah.
It was all over the floor. It was a tragedy.
Even the main character of the movie is like, what a waste of good beer.
Yeah, it was a tragedy.
And
Imagine.
apparently Gamera is sponsored by Kirin.
Yeah.
Huh?
The movie's sponsored by Kirin, the name of the beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is some good ass beer, if you ask me.
You never had it, have you?
No, I've had it a couple times.
Okay.
I'm weeb enough to go and have had Japanese beer.
Have you had Asahi or Sapporo?
Yeah. I think we've had Asahi together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways, so they go and do that. And remember, this brewery thing is super important. It's going to be something we're going to talk about later. Something we talk about later. So remember the brewery. And remember how tragic it was. Anyways, so...
Oh yeah, I can tell what happened.
Oh yeah, so continue, Mark.
So, Gamera fights the Legion monsters. They're all over his body.
Yeah, that actually was really freaky.
Well,
Too bad he doesn't have a nuclear pulse attack like Godzilla. That would have been really handy.
Before all that, before Gamera appeared though, we end up finding out that the Legion were creating this like biological launch pad.
Oh yeah.
In the form of a giant plant, and inside contained a seed housing a new race of Legion.
So basically what they do is they go to a planet, they go and plant their hippy dippy flowers, and then they make these flower rockets fly off into space, go to a different planet, and then just recycle the process.
And the whole process involves like a lot of the production of oxygen and silicon, and which that's what they got from the
Yeah.
beer bottles, the silicon, and there's a lot of science in this movie. I think
Like,
this movie
basically-
was basically dedicated in explaining the science of these alien bugs.
Yeah, but that's so were they using the plants to kind of like, because the plants like gave off like way too much oxygen, so where it made like
It gave up so much oxygen that it was actually kind of toxic to the people.
Yeah. So were they kind of like terraforming us a little bit, or was it just to launch?
It was to launch, and the explosion that results from the launch, we saw the computer simulation of that, and it just like
obliterated an entire city.
Yeah, so the first time Gamera goes to go and destroy one of these hippy dippy flowers, he goes and
he succeeds in destroying the hippy dippy flowers.
Yeah, and then gets covered in like the Legion, which is absolutely terrifying. One of the things I actually fear the most is being covered in like ants, bugs and ants. Like you guys ever play the game Catherine?
No.
I know of it.
Okay, so like there's a part in Catherine where your girlfriend Catherine gives you like a cake and you neglect it for a few days, and the cake attracts a bunch of ants, so you wake up covered in ants. And that part like gets me every time, just because they're all over.
Well, you should have eaten the cake.
Well, he didn't. He forgot the cake. He's too busy going and having an affair. Who has time for cake when you're busy having an affair with some type of demon? Anyways, but yeah, I that part just is like, ugh. It freaked me out just because I hate that feeling of having just all those things on you. And Gamera feels the same way. He's like flying around. He's trying to get them off. He's like spinning around. He's like trying to, and there's like he's like spilling Nickelodeon slime all over the place. Then we learned that Nickelodeon slime isn't as whimsical and banana pudding tasting as we think it is.
It's his blood.
It's his blood, which is a little grim, knowing that Nickelodeon has been
vampirizing Gamera.
Yeah. That's awful. Like someone should someone should go to Viacom and like
this is what we need PETA for.
Yeah, what is PETA doing? They should be going and helping.
They're busy protesting abuse against Pokemon, and right when Gamera needs all the help he can get.
Yeah, Mark wants those Pokemon abused. Mark's like, don't go protect the kaiju, not the Pokemon.
Exactly.
Let them all burn.
What if there was a Pokemon that was a kaiju?
Well, I am familiar with Tyranitar, who's basically an inspiration for Godzilla.
Okay.
Well, he was inspired by it. But yeah.
Oh yeah, so after the explosion, they think Gamera is dead, right?
Yeah.
No, that's the second time. After Gamera leaves, the Queen pops out of the ground and flies away.
Mm-hmm. And the Queen is kind of like a horseshoe crab mixed with like a Hercules beetle. I know that sounds really weird, but it like actually works and it looks pretty intimidating and cool. And like Gamera's just like, hey bro, I'm just gonna take a break because I was covered in ants and that freaks me out. So they make another hippy dippy flower. And they try to go and fend it off this time.
At this point in the movie, they're evacuating everybody from the city of Sendai when the flower was starting to bloom. Mm-hmm. Because, one, they did not want to risk having people there when it exploded. And two, the Legion was there.
Yeah, you kind of don't want people when monsters are around.
Gamera catches wind of the Legion in the area and tries to fly over there and is stopped by the Queen.
Yeah, and she just kind of curb stomps him to the point where he can't make it in time. And the hippy dippy...
Well, he did make it in time to stop the launch, but he...
Yeah, he gets caught into the explosion and the hippy dippy flower just kind of goes boom all over his face.
Throughout the entire fight with the Legion Queen his first encounter with the Legion Queen anyway, he's basically keeping the Queen away from a helicopter that's still trying to like get off the ground.
Oh yeah, that helicopter also has that lady who had the magic comma that
Yeah.
was in the last movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that she was added in later in that movie because
Yeah, I think that I think the only issue with that movie is that they kind of just forced her into the movie. So that way, like, I think at that
whereas
time...
the character that we know and love should have had a bigger role,
Yeah.
Inspector Osako.
No, I thought we were talking about the taxi cab driver.
No, Inspector Osako, man.
Anyways, so I think that they mostly did that because they could probably like realize like halfway and they're like, oh, we already had the inspector come back. We should probably have her come back too. Maybe we'll have her in the third movie too. Maybe there's a trilogy thing. Maybe we're following characters now. Anyways, so yeah, so it explodes on the face.
It explodes right in Gamera's face.
And Gamera kind of looks like it's dead.
He's like in this petrified coma state.
However, he is saved by the power of love.
Aww.
Yeah, basically they all start crying, and then they all start like thinking about how killing each other is wrong, and how we should just accept each other for who we are, and you know the whole like,
I know where they're going with this.
and,
So do I,
you know,
and I don't like it.
You know, they start crying and the tears start flying into Gamera, and then Gamera gets hit by like light and then turns back to normal.
Well, I thought he was absorbing heat when that happened, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They put like whole barrels of like bonfires all around Gamera, and he absorbed the heat from it to help re-energize him. And during the process, he ended up severing his link to Sagi.
Yeah, the magical comma just kind of breaks in half.
Taste the heat, not the meat.
Yeah, pretty much. He's heat powered, so if you go and toss him like in a fire or something, he's just gonna get
He's
stronger.
probably just gonna eat it.
Yeah, he's a giant tortoise who feeds on flames.
Turtle. There's a difference between turtle and tortoise.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
And so
Don't
after
worry, someone out there's gonna get that joke, and they'll be like, Anthony, why?
And so after he absorbs the heat, he goes and fights the queen, right?
Yeah. They
Before he got there, the military is doing everything they can to keep the Legion Queen at bay, because right now the Legion is very desperate to get a seed launched into space. And their next target is Tokyo, who is still recovering from the attack from Guile, so a year prior.
Yeah, which is actually kind of like a neat little touch that they still have like wreckage around, even though the Tokyo Tower just somehow got fixed.
I mentioned me. No, the Tokyo Tower wasn't fixed.
I thought
It
it
was
was
still broken.
Oh, okay. I thought that like it was
Doesn't
like
it like
fixed or
get
whatever.
broken in every kaiju movie?
I mentioned this before. Whenever a kaiju movie comes out and the Tokyo Tower is destroyed, a lot of the audience cheer for that specific moment because a lot of people in the area see it as an eyesore. That's what I've heard, anyway.
So if you're making a giant monster movie and like you want to go and destroy something, destroy that. People liked it. I like it.
And anyway, the military's trying to stop the Legion Queen, and she just decimates like half of their forces.
Yeah, it was actually pretty tragic because they set everything up and they're like, okay, we got like so many blockades, and we gotta go and keep her at bay. And she's just like, you just see like the despair in their eye as like she takes down one blockade, takes down another blockade, and it's not like Godzilla.
And then
or
they
something.
bring out the Air Force to try and dive bomb me, to try and like bombard her. And what does she do? She opens up her chest and releases an entire swarm of Legion soldiers.
See, but I actually did really like that moment because, unlike like Godzilla movies or whatever, the military actually can do something. It's like it's very.
This is like the most competent military in any kaiju movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. They actually can damage the monsters. So there is that little like hope that maybe Gamera's down for now.
Like before Gamera came and destroyed the first Legion flower, the military destroyed like the roots.
Yeah, they destroy the roots and stuff like that, so it's easier to pull out. But still, like the way the blockades actually felt like they actually had a somewhat of a chance. Like as you're watching this movie, you're probably like, Gamera's gonna come back and save the day. But the movie actually does give you that slight hope that the military can actually fight this thing back.
Yeah. And I mentioned this before in the Shin Godzilla review when we were talking about his atomic breath, when I said I had never seen that much destruction since Gamera 2 and 3. And
Oh, yeah.
Now, now all three of you know exactly.
I like
what
how you
mean.
left out Jersey for a second.
Oh.
Don't worry, we leave out Jersey all the time. Isn't that right, Jersey?
Yes.
Don't worry.
Well, speak up, man.
I don't got much to say.
Anyway, so like I was saying, so they make the hippy dippy flower. They're going and so the military's trying to hold off the queen, and then they like, kind of figure out that if they go and some dude figures out, hey, if we go and make a certain pattern that like tells all the Legion to go a certain place, we can just have them all go to this giant bug zapper.
Exactly.
Yep.
So they go and try to make the bug zapper, and this guy's fighting the Legion, and it's pretty cool because like you actually like see him fight it kind of like a one-on-one. The only problem I kind of have with this is I kind of wish we had like a little bit of a fight beforehand, because like the last time the military fought the Legion, like it was just like a firing squad, and we didn't really get to see like how effective that was.
Yeah, the most we saw were like legs of the Legion come down and grab a scout up and pull them up in the air.
Yeah, but like we didn't get to actually see like a full-on fight, so it was nice to see like, you know, humans doing stuff. So eventually like Gamera gets the heat that it needs, and then powers back up, and then flies over, and then has like a nice tussle with the queen.
Yeah.
And
And
it's really cool because Gamera's fighting the queen, but it's not just like, but Gamera's still getting messed up and he's getting his ass whooped. But like the military's actually helping Gamera, and it's like super cool.
And they were like hesitant to help Gamera before, but after seeing Legion decimate half of their forces, they're like, give full support to Gamera now.
Yeah, they were everyone's like, okay, that guy's here to help us. He's a good guy. Let's go and help him out.
And with the help of the military, while Gamera was distracting the Legion Queen, they were able to take out most of its surrounding legs that helped form the energy blast.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gamera tears apart her mandibles, similar to how Godzilla tore Ibira's claws.
Oh yeah.
And what?
In Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster.
I didn't see that one. Did you see that one?
It was the one with the giant lobster, man.
There's a giant lobster man, or are you saying giant lobster comma man?
Giant monster, man.
Okay.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so
And right when you think the Legion is just down and out, it comes back up and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pissed off.
this thing
Like all throughout the movie, she had blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but at that point, the eyes just turned red, and she unleashed another hidden weapon, and you're like, oh my god, this bitch just can't die!
Yeah, like she just it just kept going, and you're just like, god damn it. Like every time you think you got something, it just keeps coming.
Oh my god.
And after the military successfully destroyed her soldiers in the secured area, Gamera stands up and just roars to the sky. And this is probably the most magical moment
Oh my
in
god.
this
We
movie.
all lifted our hands to give our energy.
Lift your hands to give energy to Gamera.
Even if you don't believe.
Or I know Renee doesn't believe.
Like Gamera unleashes this super amazing like Iron Man like
A unibeam.
yeah, unibeam that just fucking decimates.
And then at that point, we were just like, taste the heat, not the meat. Blah!
So with Guardian of the Universe, you said taste the heat, not the meat, when Gamera threw that fireball into Gauss's mouth at the end of the movie.
Yeah, just pretty much.
And now you say it again for Legion getting totally disintegrated by the mana beam.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it was real cool. Then everyone just like, oh cool, we got rid of these hippy dippy flowers. The Legion's dead, the Queen's dead, and we're all gonna have a good time. And the movie's over, and so should we move on to the third one?
I like to point
Yeah.
one thing
Oh,
out.
go ahead.
With this movie, since you mentioned about hippy dippy flowers and all that, Godzilla in one of his movies also fought a hippy dippy creature.
He fought a hippy dippy creature?
Yeah,
we talked
Biollante.
about it in Comcast.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of reminded me of that, but I mean, I think Godzilla vs. Biollante is an underrated kaiju movie, but I think I might have liked this Gamera movie a bit more than the Biollante one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Legion could probably beat Biollante.
Well, yeah, Legion has all those little mini creatures and stuff like that. Which,
And created a flower that was like a bomb. So
yeah. Stupid hippies. Moral of the story is don't trust hippies. If a hippie goes to your town and says, "Hey guys, we should believe in peace, love, and understanding, and we should build some giant flowers."
We should build a giant biological launch pad to send Zimu to the heavens.
Yeah. Just don't do it. If there's anything you learn from this show, which you shouldn't be learning anything from this show. I'm not here to teach you your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s. There's better people to do that. Jersey can probably teach you. Jersey, what comes after 4?
5.
See, Jersey's teaching you things. Anyways, so that's that movie. Third movie is here.
And movie 3 gets really, really dark.
Yes.
Yeah, movie 3 is Revenge of Iris. So this girl is all like, I hate Gamera because she killed my parents. Because in the first movie, remember that part where I brought up the whole like Coliseum thing, and how Gamera just kind of like beelined it over to.
During the climax of Guardian of the Universe, they were fighting in the middle of the city.
Mm-hmm.
What they didn't show you in Guardian of the Universe was that there was a family still there.
Well, there's like lots of families. The thing is, like with these kaiju movies, one of the things you kind of don't realize is that there's gonna be.
The city when we saw Guardian of the Universe was believed to be evacuated at the time. But there was one family still there, and that kid ended up suffering for it.
Yeah, so this girl's family, her parents die in the middle of a Gamera attack, which it happens, you know?
I mean,
you can't evacuate everyone. It does suck. You save the majority of people. But she grows up hating Gamera and living in this society that loves him. And she eventually moves to a small town where she's like mocked and made fun of, and her little brother's being bullied and whatnot.
Yeah, and she has a cat named Iris.
Well, she had one.
Had a cat.
That's who's gonna take his revenge. So, the bullies go and tell her to go into this magical cave, because you're not supposed to go into a magical cave, and they expect her to die or whatever. And in the magical cave, she finds this like magical rock.
Tablet,
whatever. Rock. It's magic. Mm-hmm. So she finds a magic tablet. She's like, oh, hey, what's this? And the dude who's like supposed to be watching the shrine is like, ah, shit, someone found the magic rock. And he's like, don't ever come back. So she comes back, and
before she comes back, though, we get a scene of Shibuya in the nightlife, and we find Inspector Osako there as well from Gamera 1 and 2.
Okay, so we've kind of forgot this guy. So
Inspector Osako was not quite a remarkable character in Guardian of the Universe or Advent of Legion.
No, in the first one, he's like, hey, I got a plan. We'll go work on a plan, and then he never shows up.
Yeah. They just introduce him to get the main heroine in Guardian of the Universe to the island to find the Gauss, and then he came up with the plan to trap the Gauss in the baseball dome, and then he seemed to have disappeared.
Well, after that fails, you're probably gonna get fired. It's gonna be hard to find work. The economy's not so great. You're gonna be working at a beer factory.
Yeah. Well,
as a security guard.
He said after the Gauss invasion, he quit to work on a dairy farm. He thought it was too hard, so he got a...
He quit, air quotes. They were gonna fire him, bro. You don't mess up that big.
I didn't air quote.
No, I'm air quoting. I'm air quoting that he quit.
Oh, well. Me.
But yeah, he tried to work on a dairy farm.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
Then he tried working as a security guard. Legion attacked, and so he's just like at the end of his rope.
And he's just kind of like, he's just a drunk hobo living on the streets. He's like, I'll just die in the city as a drunk hobo.
And then he looks up in the sky and sees fire. And sees fire shooting through the sky, and he just immediately like drops his drink and is like, the Gauss are back. What are they doing here?
Yeah, so Adrian Brody monsters are back, and I was just like, hey!
That should have been the first thing that we mentioned in the movie. The Gauss are coming back, and we found the carcass of a juvenile in, like, Africa or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, the most important thing, I guess, at least to me when it comes to this movie, is not the Adrian Brody monsters, but, like, just the fact that there's this girl and she has a connection with the main bad guy. And I think that's probably the thing I kind of want to focus on anyway.
Also, I wanted to point this out. In the beginning, like, didn't Gamera show up to fight some of the Gyaos? And, like, during that moment...
That's the moment I was talking about.
Oh.
You see the body of a burning Gyaos fall into the middle of Shibuya, and Gamera lands to take it out ruthlessly.
Yeah.
Absolutely ruthlessly.
Yeah, and, like, he's even destroying the city, too.
He's destroying the city to get at the Gyaos so bad. This is how much he hates the Gyaos people.
Well, isn't he biologically created to just, like, murder them?
Not just to murder them, but to protect all life on the planet.
Yeah, so, like...
If a few people have to die to save billions more, then so be it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at when you were all...
It's like he's...
And he did.
I was like, man, Gamera, you're kind of an asshole in this movie.
Yeah, he kind of was, but like there were so many of the.
He
Gyaos.
did end up saving a child, but then like immediately after you saw like 2 streams of fireballs, and then you see the fire like raining down the street and people flying through the air, and you're like, holy shit!
Yeah, he in this movie he very much is very focused on his mission to kill the Gyaos, and there's a lot of them in this movie. When I say there's a lot of them, there's like...
We have like reports from Egypt. We have reports of the United States engaging a swarm of Gyaos over the Gulf of Mexico. We have sightings of Gamera in Peru.
Yeah, he's having a worldwide adventure, and he's like tired and...
Yeah, basically Adrian Brody has an extended family.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is, meanwhile, this girl, she goes back to the cave, and then she finds out that magic rock was like a magic egg or whatever, and it gives birth to the Shuckle monster. It's literally just a Shuckle.
It does look like one, I'll admit.
Like, Mark is even like, man, that does look like a stupid Pokemon. I hate him, and I will hate everything that it makes.
Yeah, but the difference with this Shuckle is it actually evolves.
It when you look at it, you're like, it's kind of gross but cute at the same time.
Yeah, I thought the design for the little baby monster was very cute. I was like, I would want a plushie of it. I'd go and like take a little figurine of it and pat it on the head and be like, oh, you're so evil.
Yeah.
So the girl resolves to like take care and raise this,
and she names it after her cat.
Exactly.
I honestly didn't think she named it after her cat. I thought that she was.
Did.
I just assumed that she's just very uncreative, and that's the only name she likes. She's just like, I just like the name Iris. I'm just gonna name everything Iris.
At first, I thought that the creature known as Iris was actually gonna be.
Yeah,
the
we were all
cat.
expecting that the cat was gonna be.
Oh man, you guys must have been so disappointed.
Yeah.
I was, because everybody knows that cats and turtles are mortal enemies.
You got that from Rocco.
Yeah, I know. That's the joke. Anyways.
That's the joke.
Anyways, so she's raising this thing, and she's like, "It's my baby. I love him so much because we both hate Gamera. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, Iris? Shaka. And then like she goes and tries to feed it like food, and it's
she's like, wait, you don't have a mouth.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, Iris looks at the bag of food she brought, lifts the tentacle, and you see like this barb shoot out at the end, and Iris just impales one of the cans and just starts sucking out the food from the can until it like crushes.
It's called a proboscis.
So like
there's lots of animals that have them, bro.
So it's pretty much like Cell in its first phase.
Like imperfect Cell.
But yeah, so it's got that going on.
Oh man, my favorites. One of my favorite reactions from you guys seeing this movie. Let me finish. Was when Iris escaped from the cave and the girl went out to the woods looking for Iris, and she didn't notice, but we see like a dead raccoon that had its life sucked out, and we see little Iris just sitting there innocently with the little sugui eyes. And she's like, you scared me. You must have been so scared and so alone. I'm so sorry. And then Jersey chimes in saying, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
I think I said that.
No, that was definitely Jersey.
One of you two said it. It wasn't me, because I think that joke's stupid.
Because you're looking at this thing, it looks like it's a tentacle monster, and there's a Japanese schoolgirl. And you're like,
Yeah, so it's...
And you guys were like, no, that's not going to happen. And as Iris slowly transforms...
Yeah, so it's like evolving and...
As as Iris is transforming, you see Ayana, that's the name of the girl, slowly unbuttoning like one or two of her buttons, and you guys were like, "What?" And she said, "I kid you not, Iris, I'm so hot." And you guys are like, "What?"
Yeah, it was really weird. It was like really bizarre.
And then you see the tentacles reach out and pull her into an embrace, and you're like, "No.
It was really like, okay, like,
I was just kidding.
So like this monster, it's like transforming and like it's tentacles, and she's like, it's so hot. She's like unbuttoning her shirt. And keep in mind, like his like little sister and mom are like in the other room, and we're like, bro, what the heck did you put on? You can't have this on here. This is disgusting.
Thankfully, what you think happens does not happen.
Thankfully.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh.
But it was.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Iris also has a little version of the Magatama.
It's not a magic comma. It's like a semicolon.
Yeah, kinda. Iris has her own version of that, similar to Gamera's, but all the other ones were destroyed after Gamera was resurrected in Legion.
Yeah.
And we see Ayana wearing it almost throughout the entire film. Mm-hmm. And actually, when she was unbuttoning, it was to give us a little peek at the jewel glowing.
Yeah.
Forming a spiritual connection between her and Iris.
Mm-hmm. Which I actually really, really like that idea, because you had in the first movie, you had that girl who with the comma, and she had the connection with Gamera, and it was like really in like you kind of figure that like that was the thing that gave Gamera his edge over the Adrian Brody monster at the time.
And with Gamera 3, it's what helped give Iris an edge against Gamera, because Iris through the bond is feeding off of Ayana's hatred for Gamera, and that's giving it power.
Mm-hmm. Which I actually really love that concept. I'll talk about what happens later, but I kind of wish they did more with that, because I really like that idea of like kind of like a Nega Gamera. So what happens next, Nathan?
There's also some spoopy moments in this, right? Because I remember like they go into a house and then like a dead body falls from the roof.
Ah, yes. When Ayana was encased in a cocoon with Iris at the time, Iris had gone on like a rampage through the village and killed like 3/4 of the people in that village. Did they directly say that it was just because it hungry and it's a hungry baby, or did they say that it's because like Iris just hates everyone? So Iris,
I mean not Iris, but what's her face just hates everyone. So
Iris
it was just killing everyone.
It might have been Iris was hungry.
Okay, so it's just a hungry baby.
That, and it might have something to do with Iris being like a mutation of the Gauss.
Mm-hmm. Wait, it was?
They mentioned it in the movie. It contained a similar yet different cellular structure to the Gauss.
Because, okay, like, one thing looks like Adrian Brody, the other thing looks like a weird shuckle tentacle monster man. So, like, because honestly, I got the impression, I thought that, like, it killed everyone because she just hated living there, because it didn't kill her brother.
No.
It killed her uncle and it killed her aunt, but it didn't kill her brother.
No, that's something that we'll talk about later on when we describe the climax of the movie.
Okay, so meanwhile,
there's also this creepy fortune teller chick.
Yeah,
who's
like,
really into the occult, and she sees like Gamera as like this
destroyer of Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's also teamed up with this guy who's watching way too much Richard and Mortimer, because he's all nihilistic and he's all like, "Oh, everything's gonna end. Isn't it great? Everything's just gonna end and everyone's gonna die."
More feminine type of guy.
Yeah, he was
talking about
that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of weird. I didn't like those characters at all. They were just kind of there. Like I honestly they were just very much throwaway characters. But yeah, so
I think there's more to those characters that I wish I was able to talk about. I wish I had notes on them, but we don't have.
It's fine. But yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't really flush these guys out too much, and I didn't really even care for them. Like the flamboyant Richard Mortimer fan was the more interesting one. But yeah, it was kind of weird because like all the humans they just kind of like meet up. Like the chick from the first movie just kind of meets up with
The bird lady?
yeah, the bird lady and the girl with the spiritual connection with Gamera. They all like meet up. Yeah. They meet up with these like kind of villain characters, and they all meet up together.
Oh, there was also a part in the beginning of the film where a submarine discovered like an entire graveyard of Gamera.
Oh yeah, that was kind of weird.
And
Did they
they
explain that, or
the nihilistic man explained that his theory was that when the Giles were rampaging throughout the world, the ancient civilization tried to create the perfect protector, and what we saw in the ocean floor were rejects, like failures.
but we never really find out.
You son of a bitch.
But anyway, so yeah. Is there really anything else to know? Like, I guess like there's like the guy who's supposed to be protecting the shrine like goes and frees the evil lady out of the cocoon.
There was like that sword supposed to have like some.
It was a dagger.
Yeah, there's like the dagger of Gamora or something that like.
It was a ancient.
It looked like a piece. It looked like it was literally just a rock.
Well, that's how old it is.
Yeah.
Passed down from generation to generation, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This kid really likes Ayana.
Yeah, I didn't really get that. I didn't think that he liked her. I just thought that he was like, hey, you should probably stop that and stop. And like he was kind of like
there
more
were
like
hints at the beginning of the movie.
I guess, but I never really got that they were like in love or anything like that. I just thought
he liked her, but she was just so bitter and
angry
that she didn't even give notice.
Yeah. So they go and like free her. They take her to Tokyo or whatever. Then
the cultists kidnap her. The bird lady.
They don't even kidnap. I mean, they kidnap her in the sense of they just hold her in some cell, and then like everyone else is just kind of like, oh hey, do you know where she is? And they're like, yeah, she's like right over here. It'll take you right to her.
It was actually a politician from Gamera 1 that gave the location of where she's being held.
Oh yeah.
Kudos to that guy. He started off as a jerk in Guardian of the Universe, and at the beginning of this movie, you still got the hint that you're still a jerk, and then he pulls that, and I'm like, aw, thanks.
Yeah. One of the things I do like about this movie are there's several characters that like show up over the course, and you see how they change. That's something I actually do like about these movies overall.
Inspector Osako is a perfect example. Like in 1 and 2, he's like a complete coward, and in 3, he's still a little cowardly, but he ends up doing somewhat brave thing. One or two brave things.
Well, he also like goes up to like the little shrine kid. He's like, "Hey, you want to go save her? We should go save her together. Take that magic sword of Gamora and stab that stupid Iris." So eventually they all meet up, and then
Iris grows to its full height and flies away
to go find the girl, so that way he can go merge with her again or whatever.
Yeah, and the monster's design like kind of looked like that of
Deoxys.
Yeah, and sort of I got like a Megazord vibe to it.
I hate that design so much.
Really?
I don't like full-grown Iris.
Yeah, the design kind of
it was a little too much.
It was a little edgelord.
I don't know if it was this design or the design where he absorbs the girl during where we were freaking out. It reminded me of Orga's first form from Godzilla 2000.
There's a question I want to ask you about Godzilla 2000 later.
All right.
But anyway, so yeah, Iris is flying through the sky. Jets are following her, and they're like trying to shoot her down, and she keeps shooting me, and she keeps firing back, and then out of nowhere, Gamera comes out, and I actually really love I love everything about this movie. Right when Gamera emerges from the clouds, and we see like from the pilot's cockpit Gamera's head by his side, it gave you the feeling of, oh my god, this is a huge beast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the incident in Shibuya and all around the world, Gamera's actions caused like an ethical dilemma. Like, okay, we've let this monster has saved us twice before in the past, but now look what it's doing to us now.
Yeah, they kind of have this thing where it's like, Gamera's cool and all, but like he's kind of a bit of an asshole right now. He kind of has no regard for our lives. So why should we regard his life? So we kind of like start shooting him again.
I think those
The air battle between Gamera and Iris was a sight to behold, don't you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually kind of cool. That was kind of cool. And then
Especially when he went from jet mode to saucer mode.
yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Oh wait, wasn't this the movie where he did the primary Lotus, or was that the last movie?
No, that was the first movie.
Oh, how come we didn't mention that?
Well, sorry, we gotta go through this stuff fast.
Oh, yeah, there's another thing about this movie that I like. They actually
Primary
explain
Lotus.
why monsters keep attacking Japan.
Oh yeah, what was the reason again?
The reason was because Japan, the country, is like a hotspot for mana.
Oh yeah. Like the Earth like has a bunch of like energy swirling around it,
And like Japan is like one of the brightest beacons.
yeah, it's like this like the energy just converges there. So like monsters are like, I'm just gonna go and attack this place right here.
This place seems like it will make me more powerful.
Yeah.
It must suck to be Japan being constantly like ridden with monsters.
But, which is kind of a nice like way of going saying, hey, this is why the things are going on. But yeah, so eventually the military shoot down Gamera and they're like, then Iris comes down, starts destroying the city, trying to get to the girl.
And that was a beautiful. I think this was one of the most beautiful shots in this entire movie. The rain coming down and seeing Iris just slowly walking toward the airport where Ayana and the rest of the gang are. Mm-hmm. And Gamera swooping down, trying to blast volley after volley of plasma fireballs, only for Iris to just stand there, look up and stand there, and just swallow them away with her tentacles.
Yeah.
That gave you the feeling of like, oh shit.
Yeah. So the chick is all like, oh, hey, Iris, over here. Let's kill Gamera together, because I'm in this weird trance state where I want to just murder him. And what ends up happening is just, Iris gets to the airport, rips it open. The weird cultist lady is all like, oh, cool, Iris, take me. And then she just dies. And then the Rick and Morty fan just kind of also just dies.
Before that, during their struggle in the city, before the struggle in the city, there was also another beautiful shot. It's a very quiet moment. Gamera and Iris are having like a stare down, and the camera shifts between Gamera, Iris, and Ayana, and how all three of them have a connection to each other now. Mm-hmm. And before they start fighting, they wait until they are in the eye of the storm.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And that's when shit gets real, and they start like doing the whole monster dance. But then Ayana just gives like instructions to Iris to just flat out kill Gamera, and Iris just impales Gamera, like skewers him through his stomach, and each one of you were like, oh
Yeah.
My God, of all like the kaiju monsters I've seen, Gamera is really
he could take a beating though.
Yeah. The thing about these movies is that we haven't really touched on is that Gamera gets really messed up. Yeah. Like he takes a lot of damage. This isn't like your Godzilla movie where Godzilla just like takes a few shots and he looks fine.
In Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, he got pretty bashed up bad.
But
during
nothing,
the finale.
but nothing like these.
I don't know. I've seen blood spurt out of Godzilla's neck, and that was in the Showa era.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's still, but like, okay, so, only got like 30 minutes, so.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, so wrapping this up, basically.
So they're in the destroyed airport. Gamera is lying down on the floor, almost dying.
Yeah.
And Ayana, right when Ayana was about to be absorbed by Iris again, she is snapped out of reality by the guy who has a thing for her. Has a thing for her. at first he like throws the knife at like Iris and is like, okay, do something, yeah, and the blade just bounces off of Iris, but it like nicks Ayana's cheek, and that snaps her out of the trance, and Iris is just like ticked off and just swats the boy away and just forcefully absorbs Ayana, and that's when their minds begin to merge and they start to see everything through each other's eyes, and that's when she sees Iris killing her adoptive family and everyone in the village, and she's just mortified, like thinking, did I do this? And it's like,
yeah, she kind of, but she doesn't really like it and stuff like that, and then Gamera just kind of comes back up.
Gamera just plunges his hand straight into Iris's chest to try and pull her out. And in response, Iris impales Gamera's hand to a wall. And now Gamera is stuck in this situation where if he hurts Iris, he risks killing Ayana. But if he does nothing, Iris is going to kill him. What is he supposed to do? And at that moment, Iris is like sucking out Gamera's blood and life energy and is creating her own version of the plasma fireballs that Gamera is known for and is aiming it towards him. And so Gamera just like looks at Iris, then looks at his hand, and
he's like, "Fuck!"
Kudos to the animatronics team again, because you look at Gamera's eyes in that scene, and you could tell he really doesn't want to do this, but he does it anyway, and he blows off his own arm to save Ayana.
Yeah, and then he blows up his arm, pulls her out, and
he absorbs the heat. And he does a falcon punch.
Yeah, he just falcon punches Iris in the stupid face.
Iris releases the plasma fireballs. Gamera raises his little useless stump of an arm and absorbs the fireballs into his body, and it creates like a new fire fist.
Yeah, that he uses to bone punch him. And it's really cool, and it looks neat, and so afterwards, like, she snapped out of it, and they just kind of like...
What I like about that scene as well is that while Ayana is still unconscious, they're trying to revive her, and Gamera is just like hovering over them, making sure that she's okay. It really says a lot about him as a character.
But then after that, Gamera just kind of just has to get going because there's still Brody monsters flying around. So he just kind of
all of a sudden, here they come, the Brody Bunch. The Brody Bunch. They became the Brody Bunch.
Who did we say was going to be in the middle of that?
Yeah, about that scene. They cut back to like the military office, and who had gotten a report from the Prime Minister saying that the United States, China, and Russia have reported large swarms of Gaios changing their flight patterns and are converging toward Japan.
Yes.
Straight toward Gamera.
So the movie just kind of ends with like Gamera just flying off to go fight off the monsters.
Well, not fly off, more like limping through the burning city of Kyoto.
But like, day's kind of saved, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the end of the movie, right?
And you said that you were mentioning something about Godzilla 2000, right?
That's when we're gonna... Oh. Yeah, you know what? Since we just finished talking about all three movies, let's move on to thoughts on the movies and the characters.
Okay, so Jersey, you go up first because you didn't say anything throughout this entire thing, and I wasted my gas driving you here.
I've been trying to, say something now and then.
But you have the
floor. Okay.
So, regarding the third movie,
just to say all the movies in general. What do you think about the movies?
I thought it was brilliantly entertaining, to see a new perspective, of kaiju monsters. The kind of kaijus that fight with us rather than against us. And, our mistreatment, due to our own irrational fear.
Yeah. And you like the characters and stuff?
Yes, they were quite interesting.
Even if you guys can't remember most of their names.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to take time. Anyway, but, so what was your favorite movie, Jersey?
I think I'm going to have to say the second one. Because, it has, a lot of jump scares, twists and turns, and, just awesome, monster designs. I wouldn't have thought, of a half crab, half, beetle looking,
Yeah. All right. So Mark, seeing these movies for the first time, what did you think about the movies?
Well, I'd say 3 of these are like better than like maybe like
The entire Heisei Godzilla.
maybe yeah. Cause like some of the Heisei Godzillas, like they do kind of have their campy moments, like the Showa era. There's like some plot points and like Deus Ex Machina. Like I can name Godzilla vs King Ghidorah for example. Like that has a lot of Deus
Time
Ex
travel.
Machina, time travel bullshit or whatever. And I'm gonna have to say the second one's my favorite.
And why is that?
Because I love the special effects. I love the designs. I love how. I also like the third one because of how Gamera just takes a beating really bad, and like how he was able to sacrifice.
Well,
his
Gamera
hand.
takes a beating in the second one too.
He takes a beating in all of the movies.
I mean, the Legion blasted Gamera in the shoulder and took off a chunk of his shell.
Oh yeah.
I was like, ooh. Wow,
And
that's fine.
the finale for the second movie was just amazing.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it was.
Yeah. So you like the characters and whatnot?
Well,
How do you feel about them?
the characters, I'd say that the girl from the third movie who hates Gamera, I mean, it's kind of like justifiable as to why she hates Gamera, but I do like how she comes to terms to like accept basically and like find out that like if I let Iris control me, is this what's gonna happen? And I also did like how the girl that was connected with Gamera in the first movie was like a nod to like the Showa era movies, even though I haven't seen them, about like Gamera being a friend to children or whatever.
Oh, what about you, Anthony?
Oh, I was actually gonna ask you, Nathan. Seeing these movies again, I don't know how many times you've seen them, but like, how are they holding up for you? Do they?
They hold up pretty well.
And was there anything that you forgot? Anything that like you?
They were things.
I mean, there might be one thing that you might have forgotten in the third movie that you didn't tell us about, and that we didn't expect it to see, and you
Yeah,
just
I lied.
yeah.
I lied just to see the looks on your faces.
Yeah. Also, you didn't tell me in the second movie it kept getting spooky, and you kept saying that it wasn't gonna get spooky anymore. And
No,
it
he
kept
said
getting-
the spooping has just begun.
spooping has just begun. Happy Halloween, everyone. Anyways, so yeah, they hold up, and you still love the characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you like saw this time that you kind of forgot, or that you might have that overlooked or whatever? You're like, oh, I forgot that detail, or I didn't notice that.
I'm trying to think. If I did, I can't remember
All right.
now. Before I say my favorite, which one was your favorite, Anthony?
I'm gonna be lame like everyone else and say that 2 is my favorite, because I really like the idea. I like since the U.S. Not the U.S. military, but since the military and Gamera were working together, I really like that the movie also kind of does the thing where like where the Queen also has her own army, so they reflect each other really well. Because like you have like the little soldiers that like are running around, and you also have our soldiers running around, and it's our teamwork together that makes us strong. And I thought that was a really cool idea.
Yeah, there's a prevalent theme through all 3 of these movies. Like the first one, it's like the superhero origin story.
Mm-hmm.
The second one has a theme revolving around unity and teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the
because
theme-
the villains were working in a team, and we were working as a team.
And the theme in Gamera 3 was vengeance and redemption.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really wanted to like Gamera 3 the best, but honestly, my problem with it.
Is Iris's design.
Well, no, it's not that. I wish that the chick who hates Gamera was more committed to being the villain. I wish that it wasn't this whole like, oh, Iris hypnotizes her, and then she's like in a weird trance. Nah,
They were feeding off of each other's hatred.
Yeah,
getting
but-
drunk off of it.
Yeah, but like I don't like that whole thing. I kind of wanted her to just be her own person. I wanted her to literally be on Iris's shoulder and be like, "Get him, my pretty! Kill the Gamera!" Like I wanted that. I wanted her to be like full blown like.
I would not want that. I loved what they did with Ayana's character in this movie, because at the end, when all is said and done and she recovers and sees Gamera battle damaged and looking down at her, she even She even quietly whispers, "Why did you save me?" after everything she's done to hurt him.
Yeah, but like I would have liked it better if like, I mean like,
Especially with the realization that she's partly responsible for her adoptive family's death and the death of others.
Well, no, because I always got the, like I said earlier, I got the impression that she hated those people. So obviously she wouldn't.
Yeah, she may have hated them, but she didn't want to kill them.
But I want her to be that evil, so that way when she does like has that moment of, "Why did you save me?" It feels like, oh wow, I've been so awful. You're making me see the light. I actually hated the part where she was getting absorbed and she was like, "No, I don't want to get absorbed. I don't like this." I was like, "Oh, you should be like totally into this right now. You should just be like full blown." That was my only problem with that movie. I was like, I really like the concept of her being this like
foil.
Yeah, this foil to the other girl, and the other girl can't do anything. She doesn't have her magic comma, and so like the other girl has to watch as like this other crazy. I kind of just wanted her to be more of a villain.
I would not. I disagree, but I disagree, but I can't change your mind.
Yeah. Mark in Jersey, what do you think? Am I wrong for thinking that it would be cool if she was like more involved with being evil?
Yeah, but I think her going on top of Iris's shoulders is a bit too overboard.
Yeah.
We can rule this city, Iris. I just want every villain just to be completely over the top. But that's just, I mean, Jersey, what do you think?
It's just like, I kind of found it like strange, like with the dagger like plot line. It's just the boy didn't know like what the hell am I supposed to do with this, and just like flicks it, and like with it bouncing off, like hitting Iris just automatically, result.
Yeah. Well, it slices her face, and she's like,
"Huh? What happened?"
Yeah.
I just didn't like that element. I thought that it would have been stronger if she didn't get like that weird trance hypnotized or let me unbutton myself thing. Also, I just kind of thought that I thought that the Gyaos being there in the movie was kind of like,
it gives like a feeling of like something apocalyptic is happening.
Yeah. I just kind of
like the stakes are being raised even higher.
I guess, but they kind of just felt like they were just there to just be there. Like, I honestly just...
Well, you know why they were there, right?
Yeah, they were there to go and make it so that way, Gamera goes and shows that he's kind of being an asshole. And then everyone's...
it's because toy sales for the Gyaos outnumbered toy sales for Legion.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
I didn't know that. Well, to be fair, with Legion, you gotta go and buy like 8 different, like, you have to go buy the crappy mini sets that has like 8 of them in it, and they all have bad articulation, and you're like, I don't want those. But I didn't know that, see. I think the Gyaos and the Legion, they both have strong designs, but I can see why Gyaos would be more popular.
Yeah, because he was a Showa era monster.
Yeah, and he was also in what was it, The Illusionist? The Pianist? He was in that movie.
Anyway, Mark, I mentioned something about Godzilla 2000. Both Godzilla 2000 and Gamera 3 came out in the same year. Now that you've seen both of these movies, I'm putting you on the spot. Which do you think was the better film?
Well, Godzilla 2000 did kind of have like some of its cheesy moments, especially with the special effects. I'd say Gamera 3 had the better special effects. And I did like both finales because when I was a kid, seeing Orga trying to devour Godzilla was just like, oh my god. And then when he does the nuclear pulse and then Orga's eyes just go big like, oh shit. And it blows up. I thought that was cool. So I think that moment was better than the Falcon Punch. Just because of how crazy it was.
Also, I kind of wish that
I feel story-wise that Revenge of Iris is better than 2000.
Oh yeah.
I do kind of also wish that we did have just maybe like have Gamera wrap up the Gyaos instead of like, gotta go limp off and go fight more Gyaos now with only one arm.
Another bit of trivia. When the director was brought on, he wanted to make Gamera a character that you would root for, and who's basically powered by belief. Probably, because he looked at the youth in his country and they're like, what? And he's like, the youth don't really have anything to believe in. And so he made those movies to, like, give that
give him hope or whatever.
give that kind of credence. And so he was like, yeah, Gamera will win, but we're not going to show you. You're going to have to believe that he will win.
That's kind of a neat. Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it. And I do really like the one thing about these movies that we lightly touched on a little bit, but Gamera does get messed up. Like he takes damage, and you feel just
Gamera to the kaiju world is like Rocky Balboa.
Yup.
pretty much. That's a good analogy about it. You just
He's
see
an underdog.
you feel like
He has all these powers, yet he is not invincible.
Yeah, he's very much not invincible. He's not this like hulking behemoth that you can't hurt. He is very vulnerable. He is very, I don't want to say weak, but like you literally, like every fight is an uphill fight. Even when he does have an advantage, usually there's something that's just around the corner that's just about to go and take him down. Whether it's a missile or whether it's...
And Death Battle pointed this out, like Gamera like has a victory through prep time. He's kind of like Turtle Batman.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because, like, in the Showa era, like, when he was defeated, like, he would go back and fight the other creature and try to, like, figure out the weaknesses and everything.
He could go back to his little Gamera cave and have a little chalkboard and be like...
Dude, those movies were so corny.
Even cornier than the Godzilla ones?
Those movies made the Godzilla movies in the Showa era realistic.
I don't know. I mean, like...
Nothing
can be cornier than kaiju talking in the Godzilla movies.
What about Godzilla flying in the smog monster?
Okay, well, that was funny.
Is that the one where he like shoots his beam backwards and he's like?
Yeah.
Fun fact: if you have that DVD, when you go into that scene, it says
something you don't see every day.
Yeah, that's what it says, and you're like, yep, that is something I don't see every day.
I totally forgot about that scene until AVGN brought it up in his review.
And well, I guess you could see it every day, but like, why would you? Is that even a good one?
Godzilla versus the smog monster?
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
All right.
Thoughts on? We've already talked about the monsters, right?
Yeah.
The monsters and the special effects.
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
somewhat.
We've pretty much gone over that. I mean, like
we haven't mentioned the reason why Gauss is a threat is not only does it eat people, it reproduces asexually.
Oh yeah,
and that's
I
what
guess.
makes it even an even bigger threat.
Well, personally, I kind of want these people to like. I want you guys at home listening to maybe watch these movies and.
Oh
yeah. I kind of want to tell them everything about these movies. That's kind of why I wanted to rush through everything.
Okay.
Even though we kind of spoiled the entire movies.
Okay, then just let's talk about the special effects.
But yeah, the special effects are all good. They got better every movie.
Yep.
They these movies are just real
like
good.
There's a part in Guardian of the Universe where you go hand puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was practical. Everything looked good. Though Iris was very much CG, and that's probably one of the reasons.
The
last
Iris
one.
was CG during the flight, and when her tentacles are all flopping around.
Yeah, I just don't like Iris's design.
But I'd say the second one probably had the best special effects.
Oh yeah. With the
I mean, the
hippy-dippy
first one did
flowers
for a
and-
low budget, but I think the second one had better special effects.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So Nathan, if you were to go and what's the company that makes these movies?
Daiei?
Daiei.
So if Johnny Daiei came up to you and said, "Hey, I want to continue. I want to make a fourth one of these movies," how would you make it?
They actually did make a fourth one.
But it got canceled.
No, it was a.
Oh yeah,
unofficial-
Gamera the Brave.
No, it was an unofficial fan film.
Oh.
It was an unofficial fan film.
Wait, why didn't we watch
used
it?
with the resources with the cut because they never released it outside Japan.
You could pirate it.
Yeah, but how are we supposed to watch something with terrible CG and no English subtitles, man?
Someone didn't. There's no
No.
fan sub.
No.
Okay, one of you needs to learn Japanese. I think we should volunteer Jersey for that.
Yeah.
Hey, what?
Because he is a weeb.
And he's not doing anything right now.
Moving on.
I could,
Well, there's nothing really.
I could sub the fourth Gamera movies. Like, that's why you don't catch me dogs anymore.
What?
What?
No, it's just a random bit.
Jersey, I think we're gonna fire you from the show. You're never coming back.
Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Okay. Thoughts on Gamera as a kaiju and as a character in general?
He's cool. He's
Yeah.
a turtle.
I mean, like we said, he is the Rocky Balboa of the kaiju verse.
Oh yeah, we did say that.
yeah, we pretty much got over that.
Okay,
Casual talking.
We talked about the trilogy as a whole.
So would you guys want to go see him in like a new Godzilla movie? Would you want him to blow up Godzilla?
That's actually the
Yeah,
next.
yeah,
That's actually
about
the
it.
next on the docket. Would it be possible to bring Gamera into the MonsterVerse?
Probably not, because too many licenses and whatnot.
Probably, but it would be
Yeah.
very interesting.
That's what I was gonna say. It's
I mean, well,
most
we did-
likely not.
We did get our death battle though.
Yeah, we did get our death battle.
The only thing I would worry about is like they'd probably have to buff up Gamera like way more, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to like increase his height and
Well, not only that, but you'd have to just increase like his durability.
Yeah.
yes.
Because like we said several times, like the military just does like mess him up. Like he gets shot by missiles and just gets messed up. He gets shot by everything, and he just takes that damage. Like when you got someone like Godzilla running around who just like eats that stuff for breakfast, it wouldn't be like that fair of a thing to watch. You'd be like, well, man, Gamera fucking sucks. So you'd have to go and like make him a lot more durable. And I don't know if part of the charm of these movies is that Gamera is so vulnerable and so kind of weak. Actually, didn't one of the directors or one of the guys making these movies co-direct Shin Godzilla?
Yes, that would be Shinji Higuchi. He was in charge of the special effects for the Gamera trilogy.
Yeah, that's actually, if you saw Shin Godzilla, you can definitely see like a lot of like why Shin Godzilla is the way it is. Like from the destruction, from how Shin Godzilla does actually take damage from the military and bleeds all over the place. And it's all gruesome and stuff. I'm pretty sure if like they were given the budget and had the resources that the Shin Godzilla movies had, it would probably be like that. We'd be seeing more of that Nickelodeon slime all over the place. It'd be like a Kids' Choice Awards night, but it's like sad and depressing because it's
Slime
just
Time Live.
Slime Time. I'm writing that one down. Slime Time Live.
Yeah, I remember that show, Slime Time Live. The blonde chick that was there was hot. I forgot her name. I think it was Jessica.
I just like to see the like big Gamera turtle like over
Oh,
the
well,
slime time.
another thing to point out during the trilogy is that the composer went on to compose the Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah, you told us about that.
And it's very prevalent. Like we'll hear. What I like about this trilogy of movies is that a part of it is the soundtrack. Like when we see Godzilla, we expect to hear the theme, boom, bum, 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 and Ko Otani, bless his heart, gave Gamera an actual theme that actually fits him.
Yeah.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, da-dum, 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 da-dum.
Yeah, it works really well. But yeah, I think that's all the talking points we kind of wanted to go over outside of doing a history lesson. But like I said, I ain't teaching you people nothing. Jersey, what's 2 + 2?
4.
See, we're not teaching you anything on this show. So
If you guys are interested in seeing the Showa era Gamera movies, just do yourself a favor and watch Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I guess.
Because you cannot watch those movies alone. They're so air-gratingly bad.
Well, these movies were fun to watch together as well. So, which ones are these movies again?
These are the Heisei movies.
The Heisei movies.
The Heisei movies.
So definitely
Watch in Japanese with English subtitles, because like I said,
the dubbing's bad.
air-grating.
Oh, God.
Air-grating.
Yeah, we didn't watch the dub. We watched subs because we keep it real here. And it was, but yeah, everyone here would definitely recommend these movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're into monster movies and just like the good old-fashioned kaiju Donnybrook, just go ahead. Give those things a try.
Yeah, definitely go check these movies out. All 3 of them. Like, I'll watch all 3 since they have kind of like a nice narrative link. And you know what? They're not that long. That's actually something I actually really liked about those movies.
Yes, they're not Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they're like only like about like an hour and 40 or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. None of them were like, which actually was like, I remember like going over to your place and I was like, oh man, we're gonna get out of here at like 7 o'clock. I got stuff to do today.
And we ended up getting out at like, what, 5-ish?
Yeah, we got out like
Yeah.
6:30, I think, and I was like, oh wow, we still got plenty of time. Like it was a fun little thing. Just if you got time, and you can pirate them or whatever. You can probably get these movies pretty cheap, right?
I think it's now available on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay. Pick them up on Blu-ray. Go watch them on Blu-ray. All right. Guess that's it for the show.
So stay tuned when we watch the entire series of Ultraman.
No,
I am not going to subject you guys to that. I'm not.
Hopefully the next show doesn't involve giant monsters. I don't want this to be a
Yeah.
giant monster show.
Yeah,
And
me too. I actually want to be brought on to talk about other stuff, like animated shows, other movies.
Whatever. All right, so I'll just go around. Mark, where can people find you? Why would people want to follow you? Why should they watch Crisis of Infinite Crapcast?
Those are fighting words. Those are fighting words.
Because it's better than people poo poo.
I'm writing that one down. So, anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Anything you want to say, Jersey?
Yeah, Jersey, why should people follow you? Do you got like a thing to sell people?
I know I don't.
Well, that's because I am striving to be a voice actor, and your support would be very much appreciated.
Where should they go support you at?
Patreon.
Yes,
He doesn't have one.
and Facebook.
Do you have either of those?
I have a Facebook.
Does it link to your voice acting stuff?
He's got like a Facebook for himself, and then he's got one for his thespian group.
Yes,
Okay, so should they follow your thespian group?
yes.
Okay, I'll link your thespian group below if I care. Nathan Z, you got anything to say?
This was fun. I'm glad I got to invite you guys over to my
Okay, so how many times did we say Adrian Brody? Because I noticed that you were actually counting.
Brody.
Just because you mentioned that, I am writing another tally, and I think it's more, but so far I have 12.
Oh, I honestly thought that we would have had more. Did you count every time we said the Brody bunch in the song? That would be 13 now. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Adios.
Whatever.
See ya.
Renee, hit the button.